Welcome back to another episode of How I Cook. I'm Stephen and Frederick. Well, it's still winter, still cold outside. It snowed this morning. So I thought, let's do a potato episode. Potatoes are comfort food and warming. So we're going to do all potatoes this episode. The first one is going to be a potato cheddar soup. It's really good, but it's not really heavy. So we're going to start with russet potatoes, 2 pounds of russet potatoes. This is a 1 pound potato, to give you an idea. So I peeled 2 potatoes around that size and cubed them up, and it's around 4 cups. So into a crock pot, set on high. This is a very easy recipe. The crock pot's going to do all the work. There we go, 4 cups, 2 pounds. I cut up celery till I got a cup. I cut up an onion till I got a cup. Just dumping everything in. 3 garlic cloves. Yes, I cheat and I use this stuff that is already in the jar that all the cooking shows say you shouldn't use. I just can't be bothered to cut up garlic. 3 tablespoons. Some dill, around a half a teaspoon. Some thyme, about half a teaspoon. A little salt and pepper to taste. Don't put too much, we can always add more later. That was a really small amount of salt, a little bit more pepper, and then this is a vegetarian option, garden vegetable broth, and it's 32 ounces. This one is 40% less sodium. Can you use full sodium? Yes. Can you use low sodium? Yes. I'm not saying this is the right way to do it, but this is how I cook. So there, how easy was that? We just put all of that into a crock pot. It's already set on high. Put the lid on, and we're going to let it go for 4 hours. So see you in 4 hours, and then we'll finish with the cheddar. I told you it was potato cheddar soup. All right, see you in 4 hours. Okay, so 4 hours have flown by and we're back. Before we do more with the soup, let's make a potato drink. This is potato vodka. Not all vodkas are potato vodka, but this one is potato vodka. So I'm going to make a very dry martini. A very dry martini would be no dry vermouth. I have a shaker here with ice in it. I'm going to put a little bit of dry vermouth in with the ice. And I'm going to shake it up. I'm now going to pour out the dry vermouth. It just coated the ice, coated the shaker a little. Then some of our potato vodka. Listen to that. Into the shaker. And I want to make it a dirty martini. Dirty martini just means some olive juice. So take 2 tablespoons of olive juice. If you don't like olive juice, don't use it. If you want more, use more. And now I'm going to shake it 100 times, or roughly. That is really cold on the hands. Next, we need a martini glass. I have it in the freezer. It's been in the freezer a few minutes. You can see it's frosted up. And I just want to add 1 olive to the glass. Oops. And then pour our dry martini into the glass. Hello, old friend. Cheers. So good. So important for everything to be very cold. So good. Okay, let's get back to the soup. So we have our soup here. Look at that. It's been going for 4 hours. It's now very chunky, as you can see. The onions, the celery, and the potatoes in the vegetable stock. And we're going to blend it with an immersion blender to smooth it out a little. You can also, just with a regular blender, transfer some of the soup into the regular blender, blend it, and then put it back in. But the immersion blender is really much easier, so away I go. So there we have it. I blended it. I didn't make it totally smooth intentionally. I want there to be still some potato chunks or pieces. But there we have it. So I'm just going to put the lid back on and turn it from high to low. So I said this was potato cheddar soup. So we have the potato. Time for the cheddar. This is a block of cheddar cheese that I cut in half. It was a pound, so now it's around 8 ounces. I'm going to cut this into pieces, and then we're going to put it into the soup. Can you use the shredded cheese? Yes, you can. But as I say, anytime I use cheese, if you use that, it's covered in cellulose to keep it from sticking together, so it won't melt as well. But can you? Sure, it's a great shortcut. But this doesn't take that long. This doesn't require shredding of its own. So if I just cut it into smaller pieces, it'll make it easier to melt. Into the crock pot with the soup. Take a spoon, mix it up, and we'll just let it go for a little while the cheese melts. I'll check back in on it, and then we'll finish things up with that. So over here I have a potato boiling that I peeled and cut up. Once it's done, around 20 minutes, I'm going to drain it, cool it a little, and mash it. We're going to use the mashed potatoes to make chocolate truffles. Yes, I said this is a potato episode. Potato chocolate truffles. Delicious. Okay, so that's what we have here. I'm going to get the ingredients for another recipe, and I'll be right back. Nastrovia. Back. So the potatoes that were in the pot boiling for mashed potatoes are done. You can see they're still warm. I'm putting them in the fridge to cool down. Our next recipe, I want to shout out our friend, Deborah in New York, for this recipe. She sent it to me and said she had it and it was delicious and it probably would be a good recipe for how I cook. So it's roasted onions, potatoes, and sweet potatoes. So I already cut up 1 medium onion into chunks wedges. This onion is already peeled, so I cut it like that. Cut it to quarters. This one cut into quarters, but this side is bigger. Cut them in half too. So 2 medium onions in chunks. 2 nice sized sweet potatoes that I peeled. We're going to cut these into chunks as well. They don't need to be bite size because people can cut them up on their plates, but you don't want them too big. The more surface area, the better, because that's going to be roasted. And next to the regular potatoes, some small, medium. This is around 2 pounds of potatoes. And again, we're going to cut these up. They don't have to be bite-sized, but you don't want them too big. We want more surface area for roasting. So in here we have the potatoes, the onions, and the sweet potatoes. We now want to add some olive oil, a couple tablespoons. 1, 2, 3. Some salt and pepper. Potatoes love salt. Pepper. And 2 cloves of garlic. So I have a cookie sheet here with aluminum foil on it, silver foil, whatever you call it. I'm going to spray it with Pam. And I just washed my hands. I'm getting in here and I'm mixing everything up with my hands. Your hands are the best tool. Onto the cookie sheet. This is a lot of vegetables. It's going to be a lot of good leftovers. I have the oven preheated to 325 degrees. I'm going to put this in for an hour. We'll check it after an hour and see if we need more time. Into the oven we go. So I neglected to say the vegetables in the oven, every 15 minutes I'm turning them. So the soup, the cheddar cheese is melted, and I've lowered the crock pot to warm. Here's a container of plain Greek yogurt. I told you this is a hearty soup, but it's lighter. So as you see, there's no cream in here. We're using Greek yogurt instead. We used vegetable broth. So it's very tasty, but not really heavy. This is not fat-free Greek yogurt, but if you want to use fat-free Greek yogurt, go ahead. So there we go. I've incorporated the yogurt into it. Here, take a look. You can see a little bit of the cheese, the yogurt. Oh, good. So this is done. I'm just going to leave it on warm while we finish the other recipes, and then we'll plate and say goodbye. Now on to our dessert, potato truffles. So here's the potato. It's cooled down. I'm mashing it. I'm just hand mashing it because it's only one potato. I could get out the electric mixer or the hand mixer, but why? We just need a half cup of mashed potato. So I'm just going to put this aside. This has 3 ingredients: chocolate chips, mashed potatoes, and vanilla. So here's 3/4 of a cup of chocolate chips. It calls for a full cup, but what I'm doing is I'm adding some butterscotch. So it's 3/4 of a cup of dark chocolate, 1/4 of a cup of butterscotch. Putting it in a microwave safe dish. I'm going to melt this in the microwave every 30 seconds. Stir it, microwave stir until it's melted down. So our potatoes are mashed. We only need a 1/2 cup. And our morsels, chocolate and butterscotch, are melted. And now a little vanilla, like a teaspoon. There we go. And then all we do is mix. We have to really, really mix it. This isn't going to make a ton of truffles. So if you wanted to use a cup of mashed potatoes and have 2 cups of chocolate and butterscotch, you could do that too. But there's only 2 of us here. Okay, so this is really well mixed. Into the fridge for 30 minutes. And then we'll form them into truffles. We'll check on the roasting vegetables. And we'll be pretty much done. All right, see you in a little. So it's been about an hour. I checked the vegetables in the oven. It's time for them to come out. This house smells so wonderful. So the vegetables have a little bit of a char, crispiness. I'm going to let this cool down a little while we work on our truffles, and then we'll taste everything. Rinse my hands. All we're going to do is take a tablespoon, make them into balls. I have some walnuts here. I really like walnuts and chocolate together. So rolling it in walnuts. You can roll it in confectioner's sugar. You can roll it in cocoa, coconut, shaved coconut. I really like the flavor of coconut, but I don't like the texture. So I'm not a big shaved coconut person. So here we have the potato soup. I cut up a little bit of cheddar cheese, putting that on top, some green onion, and look at how great that looks. The roasted vegetables I did try when the camera was off. Thank you, Deborah. Sorry for talking with my mouth full. What a wonderful, easy recipe. So we have the soup, the roasted vegetables, the truffles, and we can't forget the potato vodka. So I hope you all enjoyed the potato episode as much as I enjoyed making it. Thank you for watching. Remember, this isn't the right way. This isn't the way you should do it. This is how I cook. I'm Stephen and Frederick. See you next time.